This is the Joan Jerkovich Show right here on 1150 KSAL, where I'm your life coach. And I'm going to talk to you about the rebound relationship because that's my caller coming up. Now, I'm going to be here the first one to say that sometimes I think this whole idea of not getting into that rebound relationship, which is that first relationship after you've had either a long-term marriage or a live-in or a long-term relationship of some sort, that's what they call that rebound relationship. You just jump right into another relationship. The thought on this is that maybe you haven't healed or fixed what was wrong the first time around, but I think sometimes this gets a pretty bad rap. As in, who's to say there's something wrong with going right into another relationship, especially if you're someone who maybe wasn't even that traumatized getting out. Maybe you were relieved to get out of that past relationship. They talk about you need some time to heal. Who's to say we're ever completely healed? We're always somewhat broken, especially from a lot of our past traumatic life events. And why should we have to basically just step back and stop and not enter into a relationship? And here's the number one caveat: if we feel ready and if we feel it's okay and it's nurturing to us. Now, that was sort of a mouthful, and maybe what we need to think about is the fact that if you're pretty hurt or traumatized getting out of a relationship, you maybe aren't really quite aware of how you're feeling or what's going on with you emotionally. So here would be some warning signs that you maybe aren't ready for that relationship. Number one, you just can't ever stand the thought of ever being alone, being with yourself, being without a relationship, and that is why you dive headfirst into it. That's a warning sign. Maybe you are that person who was so traumatized getting out of a past, maybe abusive relationship, or somehow you can't get over the ex to the point that you're not ready for a relationship in the sense of you can't even hardly be with that person and be in the present moment without thinking of your ex, talking about your ex, obsessing about them. Ooh, they drove by, or whatever it might be, or maybe I'm going to see them here or there. And not to say that that can't persist for a long time after ending a relationship, but you have to be able to decide and discern whether you're just too wounded to even be thinking about a new relationship. Now, we've all known those people who've gone out of a relationship straight into another one, and all their friends were circling around going, oh my gosh, what are they doing? You know, they're just too messed up to even go there. And then oftentimes, I will have to say this to be fact, it's usually for certain a man, and men typically do go directly into a new relationship much quicker than women. And just on a personal note, I can't even hardly think of a man who ever stepped back and stayed single. Now, staying single, what I'm talking about here doesn't mean not getting married. I can cite quite a few of those who get out of a relationship and say, I'm never getting married again, but they're in a relationship. They're in maybe a monogamous relationship. I call them the George Clooney's of my town, because these are the guys that never get married, but they have one monogamous relationship right after the other. Sounds like George Clooney, doesn't it? And again, who's to say being in a rebound relationship isn't a bad thing? It gets that bad rep because it can be good. Maybe you haven't met the right partner for you or didn't have one in the past relationship, but now you found the person who is a good fit, who has great companionship and common interests. Maybe this person you've just met has a true deep emotional connection, and they set up for you that emotional support system you longed for in the past. And yet, maybe they're also that person who has set good and reasonable boundaries, saying, okay, enough talk about the past, let's move forward. Just because you've come out of a relationship doesn't mean that you can't find that partner that can be the right one for you. They can be that one who can stay with you and stand with you as you continue to heal the broken heart of your past relationship. And they can be there by your side as you continue to grow. Relationship Rebound is my caller coming up on the Joan Jerkovich Show right here on 1150 KSAL.